This is the John Brown Alliance. Let me straighten up my shirt a little bit. Where we don't fear, we fight. I have had a rough weekend. Right now, I feel like Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead. I never asked for this. I never asked to be what I have become today. This is probably going to be longer than you're willing to watch, but I feel that this is a good time to tell my story. My story is America's story. Right now, I live in the state of Maryland. I don't want to disclose too much because there is a whole lot of activity here. Fascists rounding up people in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and nefarious activity. But I digress. My original people were driven out of this place to South Dakota, North Dakota, and places like that. Then some of them came back. And they mixed in with descendants of slaves, white slave owners, people from England, all kinds of people. And so I am the great American mix. The majority of my blood belongs to indigenous people and people of color, including Spanish, which is why I am doing this broadcast. I am deeply disturbed at what is going on. I am not your regular citizen. I am not somebody just posting things on YouTube. I have been in the civil rights movement since the 1990s, but I didn't want to get out there and be at the forefront. So for all these people that need to claim that they belong to a certain movement, you have to make your own judgment. But as a veteran of the civil rights movement, now is the time to back off. Now is the time to not consider joining one kind of ideology, but to consider your families and neighbors. That being said, I live in Maryland, one of the first of the 13 colonies. The people that are now dictating what goes on in our government are not only foreign to American land, but also in places like South Dakota and Texas, where their ancestors and they never fought against a king. So they don't know how to do so. I don't care if they know how, and that is not my problem. What I'm here to say is originally there were 13 colonies, and those 13 colonies defeated, with the minimal amount of people, the King of England. And we gained our independence. As a native, I didn't necessarily see that as a good thing because of what they brought in. But this is 2025, and we have to deal with what we're dealing with now. Right now, you're dealing with what is about to be, in my opinion, a revolutionary war. Not a civil war, a revolutionary war. Because the descendants of Native Americans, the descendants of white people that did not want a king, the descendants of black people and others are absolutely, positively not going to stand for this. Now we can twist it and we can say that the military is following orders when they are asked, and they will be, to blast on American citizens. It makes no difference at this point whether your protest is peaceful, which is why I had to back off of those protests, because I do not need to be told what to do to protect my family and my neighbors. No matter what you do, and let me be the first to tell you, Donald Trump and MAGA wants to see blood in the streets. They want to see Latino, black, and white people who support them to bleed, because they believe that there is no place in America for you. They believe there is no place in America for freedom. They believe there is no place in America for Joe Louis, for Martin Luther King Jr., for Medgar Evers. They believe there is no place in America for Ricardo Valenzuela. They believe there is no place in America and American history for Crazy Horse. What is about to happen to you right now? Because we are not leaning toward fascism. We are in a fight for our lives. Some of us are going to die. I probably will. I don't know what it's going to take for you to realize that we had spent 60, 70, 80 years trying to stop this from happening. But white people believed in trickle-down economics from the Reagan era. That didn't happen. And you see the seesaw. You see a Republican get elected during a time of war, and he's, the warmonger, and he's defeating these people and the people we hate. And then a Democrat gets elected, and they clean up all that shit, like Clinton did, and erase the national debt. And then, Bush comes along, and he raises it. And every single time a Republican gets into office, they do the same exact thing, and then they blame it on a Democrat. So at this point, if you were someone who voted for Barack Obama and then turned around and voted for Trump, you are really stupid. People need to start reading. Knowledge is power. This is absolutely, positively the most disgusting America I have ever lived in. I am 53 years old. And even the civil rights movement wasn't as disgusting as this. This is in-your-face type of stuff. And yet you just sit there. Or you let somebody tell you what to do. If somebody puts their hands on my mother, I'm not going to peacefully protest. I'm coming for your ass, full bore. And you know what? I got the skills to do it. Don't get me wrong. Knowledge is power, like I said. Now, I can't help all these dumb Appalachians out there who think that Trump is their king. But for every one of them, there are 70 of us. So we need to start kicking in like men. And I mean Congress too. And the Democrats. And like Tennessee Brando, I'm kind of done with the Democrats. I know they don't have any power and all that, but most of them are using it as an excuse to sit on the sidelines. When you have people like AOC out there, and you have people like Justin Jones, what the fuck are you doing? Collecting a check? And that goes the same for all of our governors of every blue state. What the fuck are you doing? So I'm going to digress for a minute. and say that you have to make your own choice as to what you're going to do. These peaceful protests are nice. However, I live at ground zero. So when this shit comes to my neighborhood and I look like me, you don't get to preach to me what to do. I don't want to talk about the 2026 election. I don't want to talk about the Democratic message. I don't want to talk about, or two, white folks telling me how to act. What I want to do is make sure that my family is still alive 10 years from now. So if your biggest focus is, getting on YouTube and you got to get all these supporters and all this, and you need to, I understand that. I get that, because with supporters you get views. However, you are not in a position at this time, when the government is threatening to sic the United States military on American citizens to tell us how to act. So I'm just asking you, you younger people, stop talking about impeachment. We don't have enough people, as Democrats there. You should have been worried about that, and your eyes should have been open when they were fucking around in 2016. When Donald Trump was committing crime after crime after crime and Nancy Pelosi did nothing. That's when you should have been worried about it, if you were woke. But now all of a sudden, because your whiteness is threatened, you want to get woke. We didn't have time for that. So since 2016, I have been informing people, along with Michael Moore and other individuals, that this shit was fucked up. And now it's really fucked up. And now white people, you should have been paying attention. We told you and you didn't listen. So with that being said, I'd like to give a shout out to an organization that I helped found with a guy named Nick Carraway, called Red, Brown, Black, and Proud. They are still thriving, and they were founded the night that Hillary Clinton lost the election to Donald Trump, or it was stolen. That's what I believe. That's what John Lewis said, and that's what I believe. So, not because he said it, but because I saw it. We all were sitting here watching the stuff on X, and now called X, and all of that. We were watching all the hacks, all that. We had, computer experts in here watching all of this shit. And we knew it was going to happen, and nobody listened. That was in 2016. This is 2025. So you don't get to wake up and tell me how to protect my neighbors. The best thing you can do right now is listen to your elders, because they know how to win this. You're not going to win this just on numbers or just on it. You're not going to win this on what you think you're going to win it on. It's going to be raw grit. It's put up or shut up time. And the woman that I heard from today, whose life is threatened, I'm sitting up right now watching her house. If ICE shows up and drags her out because I know she's an American citizen, I'm willing to die for her. Who are you willing to die for? Because America was founded on death. Plain and simple. You stand for something, you die for it. My job in America is not to die for my country. My job in America is to make the invaders and the fascists die for theirs. I think I heard a Marine say that. They said that about going to war in Afghanistan, Vietnam, Korea, and actually in fascist Germany. My job is to protect the Constitution. Period. Even though I'm a Native American. By protecting it, I protect me. I think, that being said, a lot of people, a lot of places, Christy Nome and I don't know, that Hohen or whatever his name is, need to understand that long before their states came along, we were holding our ground here. By doing what you're doing in Texas, in South Dakota, North Dakota, and places like that, you are number one, red states. You are not donor states as far as taxes are concerned. You come from the poorest states in America. You might be the richest people, some of you, but you come from the poorest states. Sooner or later, the real wealth that exists in America is going to be realized, and it's all in red states among the people. So when you try and finance your little redneck movements, and you try and deploy this and that, and those people don't get their paychecks, because here's the kicker. Elon Musk has all the money and the information to stop all of those payments. So you can put your mask on, you can lock up all the Latinos you want, but you might not get paid. Riddle that. And riddle this. The veterans of foreign wars and retired veterans do not stand as a whole with these people that are putting on a uniform, taking an oath, and violating the Constitution in the name of Donald Trump against states' rights. Let me assure you, we only saw California and New York this week. If the National Guard is deployed, you will see that Doge did us a favor, because the most skilled tactical people on the streets in all of America will be highly decorated military personnel who already can predict what you're going to do and are ready to educate everyone else on how to do it. Welcome to the revolution. In the words of the great Edward R. Murrow, good night and good luck.